Slow breath into the nose. Fill up. When you're at the top, open the mouth on the soft side. And close your mouth and just sit still. Do focus on your breath. So as soon as you bring your mind's eye to your breath, you are consciously breathing. You can notice when you're inhaling and when you're exhaling. Can you observe the quality of your breath? And with that I mean, is it superficial? Is it deep? Where does the breath go in your body? More towards the collarbone area, the chest, or can you bring your breath all the way to your belly? In Yin Yoga, it is perfectly fine to breathe into the nose and out of the mouth. It actually calms down your central nervous system. You can also exhale longer than you inhale. Also has a calming effect. And then let's take our palms, place them on top of each other and on top of your chest, recognizing your heart. Maybe you can feel the beating of your heart underneath your hands. And emotionally, it's also a beautiful place where we cultivate love, self-love, love for the people, our friends, our colleagues, the animals, Mother Nature that surrounds us. The heart can be light, sometimes the heart can be heavy. The heart can be in a place of healing or in a place of just lightness. And through these practices, through these back bends, through the opening of the front and the back of the heart, we try to cultivate a sense of keeping our heart open regardless of what is going on. And of course, sometimes we have the right to kind of close up a little bit just to protect ourselves when we're vulnerable. But then on the long term, we want to keep that heart open so we can connect with each other. For the next 6 to 10 rounds of breath, let that just linger and translate it to your own world. What does it mean, your heart space? Who has a special place in your heart? And what does love mean to you? Another 6 to 8 rounds of breath in stillness. You can set your intention or maybe even dedicate this practice to someone that has a special place in your heart. And then you can just bow your head down to seal that intention, humbly seal that intention in, connecting and allowing your sometimes very busy intellectual brain to bow down to your beautiful feeling heart. And then we can slowly come to child's pose. So you can bring your block to the side, your props to the side, and just walk yourself to the back of your mat. Let your big toes touch, knees come nice and wide. Let the hips melt down towards your heels. You will stay here for 3 minutes. Let your heart open to the front so it's easier from a body-mind connection to connect with the front of the heart. It's also often easier to connect with the front of the breathing, the feeling of breathing. Can you also connect with the back of the heart, the space between your shoulder blades? If this is too much for some reason, you can also place a pillow between your heels and your bum, so you're a little bit higher. I really sometimes enjoy meditating. I call it a loved ones meditation. So you can, for example, for the next couple of poses, pick one specific person that has a special place in your heart, and just kind of play a movie in your mind about where you met and the things you've done together and how they make you feel when you're with them, the activities you do together. You can take and do that with one person or animal or even an activity. Can be a person that is still in your life currently or maybe has already passed. It's a lovely thing to do. It just fills your heart up. Another way of doing a loved one meditation is to create a list. So you kind of go, oh yeah, that person is important in my life, and when I was young, and it's a bit more chaotic maybe, and you can realize that so many people love you and that you are supported and loved. And that you have so many beautiful things, animals, people, activities, and even a connection to nature to love. A mantra this week when I was meditating myself on the topic of love was, I love so many people, and in return, I'm loved by so many, which is such a beautiful mantra to repeat in your head. We've got a minute to go. Stay with your breath. Maybe practice a loved one meditation in picking one or the list option. Slow breaths into the nose, soft, long breaths out of the mouth, soften your jaw. Take a breath in, come to a tabletop, knees under your shoulders, hands under your hips. Now with a sense of yin. So yin is more the being rather than the doing. It's nurturing, it's very empathetic, very soft and quiet. You'll do a couple of cat-cows, but like as if it's in slow motion. So you breathe in, how slow can you move? Notice your hips tilt, your chin towards your chest. Notice the little things, what happens in your shoulders and your spine. We do this for another 6 to 8 times, depending on the length of the breath. It's almost like you don't want to come to the end of the shape. You're like really slowing it down as if you're moving through honey. And when you are in your cat or cow, you just feel into it and just keep moving. It's like a continuous movement. Your breath is continuously moving inside and outside of the body. Your body moves with the rhythm of the breath, nice and slow. Let your heart descend and open on the front in your cow. And then the heart lifts up towards the sky, open, shoulder blades broaden on the exhale. Around 2 to 3 more to go. Notice maybe a difference between the right and the left side. The last cat stretch, try to hold it. Try to bring your chin to your chest. Let your head be heavy. So yes, this is a bit active. Your abdominals are pulling in and out. There's a broadening, a nice rounding in the spine. Take 3 more rounds of breath here. Hollow the front of the body. Open the back of the body. Take 1 more deep breath in. Anatasana. Slide your hands to the top of the mat. And this time, the hips stay above the knees. You can specifically tally if it's too much for your belly hanging out and you want to place a pillow under your chest just to get that support you make. And here you have the option to bring the third eye to the floor. If your neck is okay, you can also bring your chin to the floor. This is actually a perfect practice for you, Nadia, if you've been in the garden all day long, bending forward, to do all the back bends to compensate for that. And in general, even in the office, in the car, when we cook, when we're on our laptops, when we are on our phones, there's a lot of forward movements, a lot of rounding. So this kind of compensates for all of that. We stay here for another 3 rounds of breath. Really consciously open the heart. Stay with that mindset of wanting to approach life with an open heart. Almost like a child that's never been hurt, that's never had a broken heart. No conditions, just unconditional love. Soften the jaw, notice the stretch, notice the sensations in the body. With every exhale, you soften and surrender. And just let go. Commit to stay still. Notice when there's an edge. Notice when the body starts to kind of talk to you and goes like, this is becoming challenging. The sensations might become more intense or shift. Just notice, observe, and stay with the breath. And allow time to heal the different layers of your being. Your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual world. A little bit more than a minute to go. Just soften. Soften your shoulders, soften your elbows, soften the skin on your face. Stay with a deep, slow breathing. Two more rounds of breath here. Slowly walk your hands back under your shoulders. And then come sit onto your knees with your hands on your laps. Just feel. Feel the space in your shoulders. Come to that slow, deep breathing. Maybe reconnect with your intention or your dedication, or even that meditation method of connecting to your loved ones or a specific loved one. And then we come to half pigeon on the right side. So your hands can come to the top of the mat. Let's open the hips as well a little bit, while we also lift up the chest. So here, you can stay. So here we are in this kind of a back bend. If you prefer to use your block and put your elbows down, it's also fine. When we're halfway, we're going to be adding the back leg. But I will get to there now. So try, rather than rounding forward today, try to roll the shoulders away from the ears. We'll stay here for 2 minutes. Open the heart. I think I've spoken about it before. Sometimes when you open the front line, you almost compress the back. So you're sliding your shoulder weights towards each other. It's not harmful in yin because we are not abruptly moving. But rather than opening one side and contracting the other, can you think of broadening everything? And in my head, I think of a bodybuilder. They're kind of like, oh, you know, it's like front, back, everything expanding. And that expansion, that space can also allow you to breathe even deeper. So fingertips, hands on block, elbows on block, somewhere where you can feel that you're broadening your collarbones. Feel free to close your eyes. Soften the skin on your face. So you can actually turn your knee more. Yeah, you might feel the difference. Close your eyes. Gonna be a nice sunset out there, Emma. Slow, deep breaths in. We're halfway in this variation. Notice what you feel when. Maybe even notice that your body's letting go. That you've already cultivated more space. What is a good one for your ground? See that? You can even put the rock here if you want, if you feel that you can't. 5 more rounds of breath here. So if you're on your elbows, come back into your hands. You can use the block if you want a little bit more high. Most of you probably want to slide that left knee a little bit in. Lift the knee. If you have a sensitive knee, you might even need some padding, a little pillow or something under your knee, and then you can bring your left hand to your left foot. For some of you, just holding onto the foot will already change your facial expressions. It's like, oh, wow, there's sensations happening. If you feel that you have more space and you want to intensify that stretch of the front, you can simply bring the heel closer to the buttock. We'll stay for a minute. A minute is enough for most of us in this shape. Really try to soften. So it's almost like the more the body is resisting and it's like panicking, the more you go and tell your body, it's okay, we're almost there. And let the breath support your shape. Over halfway, stay with it, soften your jaw. So sometimes when tension appears in one part of the body and we breathe through it, it moves to a different part of the body And I know for me, and also for Sarah, who is here with us, it's the draw. We grind our teeth at night. It's just an autopilot kind of reaction, which is no problem. But when you're aware of it, you go, okay, now we're also going to soften our jaw. All right, slowly, let go. And now we have to crawl out of the shape. Maybe just do a very soft downward facing dog, like a totally, let's call it a granny down dog. So everything is bent, everything is soft, no need to like push, just a lovely kind of hanging kind of downward facing dog. You probably notice quite a big difference between the right and the left side. You can pedal out the feet a little and press the heels. You can just alternate the one to the other. And then come to a forward fold at the top of your mat. So the feet are hip-width apart. Block or blocks when in doubt, just stack. So your knees, specifically if you have a sensitive lower back, you want to bend your knees a little more. It gives less pressure in the lower back. Feet hip-width apart will give you more balance. Then you can just hang forward. So some of you will place the elbows on the block. Some of you will be nice and high. Somewhere where you can totally relax your head. Feel the space in your neck. Feel really the hanging and the draping of your head. 2 minutes here. So can you make this soft? And notice if you're bringing more weight to the toes, to the balls of the feet, or if the weight is more in the heels. You can kind of shift, very subtly shift forward and back. Again, let the breath create space. Let it broaden the full rib cage. And here I find it easier to connect to the back of my body, but I can only speak from my own experience. So I can really feel the warming in the back, around the shoulder blades, the side of the rib cage. Your exhales can be longer than your inhales. We're over halfway. By letting your head be heavy, you can also kind of decide that the thinking is not needed anymore. We're probably all actively thinking today, or some of us that we're working. So let that be behind you and go into a space of feeling. Feeling sensations. The brain can rest. It doesn't have to do anything in this shape. We're just still. 2 more rounds of breath. All right. Slowly, slowly roll up. Let your head be heavy. Let your arms be heavy. Ooh, nice and slow roll. Roll your shoulder blades, shoulders. And then come to a seated position with the soles of the feet touching. We are going to place our block. Your blocks are quite rough, so if you want to put something soft like a pillow or a blanket, just grab it. You're going to place it. I actually have a bra. There's a built-in bra in the top, but that's a nice indication where your block will be. So it's for the ladies, it's the bra, but for the guys, you can also think of like your heart rate meter. It's around that same height. So it's a bit of a puzzle. You come and lie back, and you find that the bottom part of your block will sit around that space, basically underneath your heart. Rather a little bit too high than too low, because if you put it low, it's going to put pressure in the lower back. If you are quite stiff in your legs, so if this, I actually had a guy in my retreat in Sardinia. He couldn't relax here. His legs were starting to shake,
and you could just see that his body was holding on. So as soon as you then place something here on the sides, like big pillows, and your legs can go, just do that. Like, prop yourself up with things here on the side. And then the last thing that is important here is that when you drop your head, it's supported by the floor. So if it's hanging, that will create tension in your neck, and your neck can't relax. Rather put something under the head, like a little pillow, a folded up towel, and then your palms are facing up. We'll stay here. This is such a beautiful shape. So just for your information, this shape is a beautiful heart opener. It's a hip opener at the same time. So I think if there's one shape you want to do every day after a hard day of work, I would probably, to calm you down and to kind of de-stress, this would be probably on the top of my list. So maybe make a little mental note. It's quite an easy, simple shape. 3.5 minutes to go. And here we can also apply a nice pranayama. So you breathe into the heart, and you let the chest rise, rise, rise. And think about something expanding, maybe a fountain, maybe a blossoming flower, and that energy translated into the expansion into the heart on the inhale. So let's let this really, really openness in the heart. And on the exhale, let all that openness softly slide and glide towards your tummy. So you totally relax your tummy on the exhale. On the inhale, it's like an up, open sensation and energy around the heart. And then there is softness and letting go towards your tummy on the exhale. Having the palms facing up is also a gesture of being open. You know how you can sometimes, when you're in a situation and there's energy or there's a conflict or there's this, someone might just, you feel it's kind of toxic, you can turn your back to them. It's like you're like deciding that you don't want to be part of it. That's the same with your hands. So when your hands are facing up, it's like, yes, I'm open to what the world has to offer. I'm open to connection. And it is totally fine for some days when you're meditating to have the palms facing down. If you feel that you're not in a very receptive kind of space, and just making that conscious decision is already just a nice observation. And some days we also just like to have the palms facing down. So if it feels very uncomfortable, of course feel free, but in this shape it also really opens the collarbones, it opens the top part of your spine. Let the fingers relax. So our meditation, if you are still trying to kind of keep your mind focused on one thing, the loved ones, our pranayama, into the heart with openness, into the tummy with an exhale with softness. Physically just being still, just being. A little sigh out of the mouth is always welcome. Three more rounds of breath here. And then from here, bring your hands to the back of your skull. And your hands lift your head. So your chin is towards your chest. Feel the back of the neck stretch and lengthen. And then from there, you can just simply roll onto your side and just pause there for a moment. You can use your bottom arm, it doesn't matter right or left, wherever you've got most space or whatever feels automatically like the right side at this time. And just pause there for a moment, just feel. Soften your toes. Let your body be heavy and soft. With as little effort as possible, slowly push yourself up and away from the floor. And then we come to half pigeon on the left side. Bring your props back to the top of the mat. So bring your knee to the pinky side of your hand here. Your hips are still pointing forward, and you walk your right knee back, 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 until you find that sweet point. Yeah. On fingertips, remember the option you took on the other side. Even though it's totally fine to take a different option. If you feel that it serves you more here to, you can relax better if you use a block, do so. Draw the shoulders away from the ears. Settle in, take the first couple of moments, first couple of breaths to just feel if you're in the right place. And the right place is a place where you feel an edge, where there are, sensations probably around the left hip, the groin, but also a place at the same time where you can still breathe freely. So it's not that intense that it takes your breath away. You can smile, you can breathe, you can soften on each exhale. You're free to close your eyes. Just give your brain one less thing to do, which is looking out and protecting. Because the eyes are beautiful, they take in so many beautiful things. Now let's look inside. Your inner world, your thoughts, your emotions. There is no thought and no emotion that is not allowed on your mat. Just observe them. Stay with the breath, nice and slow, nice and deep. And if it helps you, remember that counting your breath can also really keep you focused. Maybe 4 to 6 counts to breathe in, and 6 to 8 counts to breathe out. What do you feel with? Let the breath be a support to stay. If your elbows are somewhere down to the floor, slowly bring them up. Place your left hand in the center. If you need to put a little softer cushion under the knee, do so now, or slide a little closer. And then the right hand finds the right foot, or even draws the heel closer to the back. Stay with the breath. Breathe even slower, even deeper. Sighs are welcome. gently release our brain down. So just a little, like as if you're super stiff. As if all your muscles are super stiff. So you're not trying to stretch them, trying to kind of keep everything bent. Maybe notice, hey, the right and the left side are starting to feel very similar again. Drop the knees to the floor. Walk your knees all the way to the top of the mat. Different people, different bodies. So this is called hero's pose, or a variation of hero's pose. You are going to be seated somewhere between your heels. But for most of that, it's just a little bit too much for the knees. It just doesn't feel right. So in that case, you can bring a block in between your heels. Regardless of where you are at, it is quite nice to take your hands and move your calves out of the way. Because if you sit down immediately, it's like the calves are blocking. So you can even use your thumb, roll them a little out to the side, and then sit back. If you don't need a block, you can also just sit straight in between your heels. So I'm sitting on the floor now. My heels are on the outside of my legs. Yeah, lovely. From here, it's interesting actually. For a very long time, when I had private clients that had knee issues, I would avoid this pose. Obviously, it depends on what knee issues you have. But speaking with lots of experts, this is very healing for the knees. Interesting. So from here, you can place your hands on something if you can, and then try to open the heart. Try to bring them behind you and open the heart. If you are all the way down and you're not using a prop under the bar, you can also place your elbows down onto the floor, or even come and lie flat back, all the way flat on your back. Just 2 minutes here. Hero's pose. With every breath in, pretend there's a little rope attached to the front of your arm and somebody's pulling on the rope. So you rainbow your heart up towards the sky, up towards the ceiling. With softness. What can you soften on the next exhale? Where do you notice resistance in the body? Where resistance comes up, space is probably needed. So let time and your breath and some softness create that space. Halfway. I see you in another zone. You speak to me through 20 seconds, stay with the breath, keep your collarbones broad. Think about broadening your chest, specifically on the inhale. It's quite nice to feel as if you're just growing a bit bigger. It's like a Michelin, like a little Michelin man, like a big balloon, blowing up, getting broader, getting bigger. Take one more deep breath in. If your head is backwards, slowly, gently bring your chin back to your chest. Take a moment here, just wait a little, and then wherever you are, we are going to roll off our blocks and find a forward fold again. So tuck your toes, take your time. We won't be here as long as we did last time. Just try to fold forward. Knees can be bent. Let's do an opposite elbow. Hold on to the opposite elbow pose. Ragged dog, that's the word I was looking for. So hold on to your opposite elbow. You can have your knees bent. And now let your head and everything be heavy. Sometimes a little sway from right to left can feel quite nice. And some stillness, maybe, or more sways, whatever works for you. 4 more rounds of breath. All right, let's come on to our tummy. Now, tummy, we'll need to see how you go with a little baba in the way. So you can either choose for an embryo or child's pose variation. See how you go. I've never been pregnant, so I've worked with a lot of pregnant people, but you'll have to feel what feels good to you. We are going to be in either a swings pose, so you might have enough space here. What you can also do, Tali, is roll up. I can roll up a towel. So you roll up a towel and you place the towel right under your hips. That gives you some height. So your hips are a little bit higher. I don't know if that could potentially work. Otherwise, instead of swings pose, which we will do after, is seal. Just be gentle with the lower back. Because you are bringing your vertebrae of the lower back a little closer to each other. So if it feels too much, come a little bit more forward. All right, so that's kind of the options. Are you good, Tali? Okay, cool. Cool. We'll stay here for a minute, and then you can choose to stay or go into seal pose. Strings pose. And again, if you feel that the lower back is like, you know, the pain is such a weird thing because everybody also describes pain differently. Like sensations of intense stretching can feel like pain, but there's like it's sharp pain, almost like there's someone who's stepping a knife in your back. And just give yourself some space by walking your elbows a little bit more forwards. Otherwise, relax your toes, let the relaxation of your toes translate in relaxed ankles. Consciously relax your knees, let them be heavy. Let that have a ripple effect in your hamstrings being soft, the buttocks relaxing. You can even squeeze your bum together and then go, okay, let's relax the buttocks. That translates into relaxation in the lower back. Stay with the breath. Stay here, or maybe go for a seal pose where you flatten the palms. Draw the shoulders away, a bolster underneath your front belly or a block. If you're not pregnant, otherwise there's too much going on. Can also be quite nice. 2 minutes here. So you're in swings or in seal. Go slow, deep breaths towards the belly. Also stretch your diaphragm. It's very healthy to practice those diaphragmatical breath. It is very good for your blood pressure. Very good to just calm you down. Soft deep breaths. Remember that we can also use this practice to meditate on something or someone that we love, or a list of amazing people we have in our lives. Or simply keep your mind with your breath. Count it 30 more seconds here.
One more deep breath in, broaden the chest. Softly come down and then bring your hands on top of each other. So Tali, you can't do this. You could be in a tabletop. And again, Tali, just do a couple of stretches there. We are just going to rest here. So your hands on top of each other. And now we can really practice the belly breath. So the belly is in contact with the floor. So let the belly softly press into the floor. Maybe you can connect with your belly button. And then soften. And also that creates space in the lower back. 5 more breaths here. Deep, slow belly breaths. Slowly bring your chin to the mat, let your hands be next to your rib cage. Come back to a kneeling, crawl to the top of your mat. We do this shape almost every day, or not every day, every week together. I do it almost every day, it's one of my favorites. It's a release for your psoas, it's an immersion, it's a heart opener, just medicine for all layers of your being. So the block, it's like a bridge pose, and the block or a pillow, Tali, if you prefer a little pillow, you don't need to come very, very high. You can just place your block under your sacrum. You can place it a little higher. Oh, Yuna is doing a show of hands. Hello, Yuna. All the cat lovers. So low, medium, or maybe even on its highest. Hey, Yuna, they can't see me. On the highest position. And then the feet go parallel. Your arms can be overhead. We'll be here for 4 minutes as well. So I'll let you know when we're 2 minutes down our beautiful shape. And then if you want to go lower or higher, or change anything, but for now let's just commit. And actually, Emma and I, our favorite is less is more. My tendency is always want to do the maximum, always the highest, and always, because in some way that's a competitive mind that comes in. It's like as if higher would be better, which is actually specifically in here not the case. You want to be somewhere where you can let the pelvis really rest onto your block. So your psoas, even the SI joints, everything can relax. And sometimes by going higher, you stay in a space of tension. The body just struggles to suffer. Okay, breathe nice and slow, nice and slow. Where less is more, sometimes less is more, maybe often. Notice any interesting tingling sensations. Feel the breath. Notice the breath. We are halfway. Your choice. If you're in a good space, just stay. If you want to go a little higher or a little lower, feel free to do so. Just make those conscious decisions
consciously, not like, oh, I have to. No, if you're happy where you are, just stay. Yoga and the yin yoga specifically is about being. Being, just be. No need to do anything. Our last shake before Shavasana, so really soften. With every exhale, your hips become a little heavier. Your tummy a little softer. Four more rounds of breath here. And then slowly you'll notice that, oh, everything is very relaxed. So you might just have to press your feet into the floor, squeeze your butt a little, so you can lift your hips off the ground. And then vertebra by vertebra, upper back, round, round, round. Press each vertebra into the floor. Oh, notice, let the hips hover just a little bit and tuck. So you bring your tailbone up and your pubic bone towards your nose. So you're really tucking your pelvis, creating space in the lower back. Take one more deep breath in, and then let the lower back press into the floor. And then all the way down, relax. Once you're down, just pause, be still. And then release to your choice of Shavasana. You can simply extend the legs, feet as wide as the mats. I would suggest to keep the palms facing up, just to broaden the chest and to have that sense of openness. Move your hips, your shoulders in a way that you can go, okay, I can be here for a couple of moments. Shavasana.
If you are in a really peaceful place and you've got the luxury of time, stay in Shavasana. Just stay. Such a healing space, such a blissful space. If you do want to slowly wake up your body again, and just start with a deep breath. Let the chest and the belly rise on that inhale. And open mouth sigh. 2 more times. Deep breath in. Fill up, 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 fill up. And sigh down. Last one in your own time. From there, with your eyes closed, you can start with small movements of your fingers and your toes. As if an external person is waking up your body. It goes like, hey toes, wake up. Hey fingers, wake up. Just wiggle them, small little movements. And when you're ready, little movement with the feet and the hands. You can feel into your wrists and your ankles. And from there, if you've got the space, stretch the arms. Yeah, I see Paul already stretching, but just saw your arms. Stretching the arms overhead, stretching the feet. Nice, point and flex your toes. Ooh, nice, yawn is always welcome. And from there, you hug one knee at a time in towards your chest. And can you give yourself a loving hug? And actually, just in your own mind, tell yourself, I love you. It sounds really strange, but we say to other people, I love you all the time. But having a practice of saying, I love you to yourself, I love you just the way you are today, in this moment, the body, the mind, the heart, the adventure that we've been on together. I love you for where I am today. It's a beautiful, beautiful practice to have. Then you can roll to the side. And from the side, you can slowly, without too much effort, come back into a seated position. Let's close exactly how we started. In a seated position with your hands covering your heart space. It sounds so cheeky and cliche, all you need is love. But there is a truth to that. We all resonate with that. When it comes down to it, all we need is love. To be loved, to love in return, to have that exchange and that connection. May your heart be filled with love and joy. May that have a ripple effect into the rest of your evening and your weekend. Thank you for joining. Keep your heart open. Namaste. Thank you, yogis. Oh, Karina,
Thank you so much, Joëlle.